Good afternoon. Armin Sarthu from Diliman, College of Architecture, actually. I was just going to mention floods are scary events. Okay, they're really very scary.
Scary.
As demonstrated by Ondoy, Pepeng, and Frank, these are very scary events. But as scary as these events are, I think the opposite is a more scary scenario. It's a scarier scenario. I was particularly intrigued by the graphs that were shown by Dr. Siringan about the
3-year or
droughts.
10-year drought.
Okay, the 10-year droughts or the 3-year droughts that were that happened many years ago, or the 10-year droughts that God forbid can take us again within the next 5,000 years. 5,000 years being period na yan. All right. What are we in the recent months and in the recent days we've seen people line up for water, right? In the Maynila water district, no? I think this is more a function naman of ineffectivity of the franchisor. Kasi sa Manila Water wala naman problema so far. Okay, but daily, okay, we're being bombarded by the fact that the water levels of Angat Dam are very low, okay, and getting lower. Are we equipped? What kinds of facilities do we have, okay, to address this possible scenario of a 3-year drought, okay, if ever? What are our facilities now? What kind of drought period can we handle? Okay,
So
and what happens? Yes.
You would like to address the question to?
I'd like to address the question to possibly Dr. Siringan and Dr. Tabios. All right, what kinds of facilities do we have right now to address this kind of scenario? If it's 10 years, what happens? Mamamatay ba tayong lahat? Wala na tayong tubig na mainom? Is desalination an option? What happens in this particular case?
I'll just be more specific. If you're talking about Metro Manila, we have been always advocating 10 years ago that the Angat Reservoir, which is the 90% of the people in Metro Manila rely on Angat, could be more, is no longer enough for Metro Manila. Especially with the current demand. You think about Angat, it's like it's a reservoir, of course, but it doesn't have more than 1 year carryover storage. So if you have a dry year, definitely you'll run out of water. So that's the thing with Angat. Like what happened now? Just 6 months ago, 7 months ago, Angat was up to the brim. It spilled, right? But then we didn't have rain for a few months and no more water right away. And you think about, if you look at the storage shape of Angat, it's like a cone. Once you get to 170, 160, the million cubic meters of storage becomes smaller and smaller. It goes faster as it goes down. That's the idea. So we have to look beyond Angat for that matter. There are options like maybe look at Wawa, that's one, Laguna Lake, but we're only looking at 300 MLD from Laguna Lake. Wawa, maybe you're looking about 300 MLD. But we need something like maybe 500 MLD, million liters of, per day of water. So we have to look at reservoirs in particular, especially because of the very pronounced seasonal variation of the weather, which is we have pronounced wet, pronounced dry.
So Dr. Tavius, it seems that the answer is we are not
Enough
aware
storage.
of any plans beyond 1 year.
Correct. So if you have a 3-year drought, 10-year drought, maybe we'll just move to Mindanao. We have 300 days of rain.
Let's hear Dr. Siringan.
Well, when we say it's a 3-year drought, it does not mean that there's no rain for 3 years. Okay? It simply says that the amount of rainfall per year is at a certain level much less than what is expected. So we will have rain. It's not totally dry. Okay? But perhaps before I move on, I would just like to share an article, trying to recall the name of the author, Senior Nako. But in that article, he says that most of ancient civilizations collapsed because of droughts. Not heavy rains, but droughts. In the Philippines, we have so much water that we neglect that we can have droughts that can persist for several years. And yes, we're not prepared for it. I'm advocating the use of groundwater only during extreme droughts. We can, if we protect the groundwater, we can use it, but we should use it at a level that is, well, judicious, yes, at the same rate as recharge, para hindi siya bumaba yung water table. In Metro Manila, certain parts of Metro Manila, for example, although we're getting a lot of water from surface water, we're still drawing a lot of water from the ground. And over the years, groundwater has gone down by almost 200 meters in several parts of Metro Manila. Okay? We're extracting water at rates that are much greater than the actual rates of recharge. Kung ang rate ng extraction equal lang sa rate ng recharge, then hindi siya bababa ng ganon. If we protect the groundwater, we use surface water mainly at times when we have a lot of water. Then during the dry periods, then we can use groundwater. And there's plenty of groundwater. We can use it. But if you go around the Philippines now, the main source of water in many places, except for Metro Manila, is groundwater. But we have a lot of rivers that we can tap, a lot of springs that can be tapped.
So in effect, Ando, you're saying let's use the river water first efficiently and reserve the groundwater for real extreme shortages as may happen in rainfall shortages may happen in the future. Indeed, this afternoon, we only focused on one climate factor, mainly rainfall and slightly temperature. And there are so many things to do, things affecting people, property, food. I know that you have many more questions on your mind. Let it be understood that the panel, the members of the panel today and our three presenters are very conscious that much as we processed and agreed on the recommendations brought forth this afternoon, we recognize that these recommendations will have to be assessed some more by the bigger community. That's you in this auditorium and in the other campuses, as well as online. We believe that, as pointed out, climate change effects, weather variability, temperature and rainfall variability, these is no longer scenarios. This is reality. Secondly, over time and until now, technology, information, even capacity have increased. Therefore, there must be some, from today, actionable recommendations we can already pick up. And then for more, we can only agree that the university can participate, the bigger community can join in to evolve more additional actionable recommendations.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the organizers, we thank our presenters, our moderator, convener, our panel of experts, as well as our guests here in NISMED. We'd also like to thank the students and guests from the other UP campuses. I would also like to acknowledge the Office of the UP President, the Office of the Vice President for Academic Affairs, the Center for Integrative and Development Studies, the UP Open University, the various colleges in UP Diliman and in UP Los Baños, and Pag-asa of the DOST. Thank you very much. Please rise for the UP naming mahal.
Sana